Flosstube! Welcome to my channel. I'm Jessie, and this was Boa Jessie Stitches, but I am very excited to announce that this is the first Flosstube of 2025. I'm filming this on January 1st, that I am officially launching my channel rebrand, which is to be Magical Anime Stitcher. I've been thinking about this for a while. For those of you who've been with me for a while, you know that a few months ago I kind of put a little temporary pause on my recording because I wanted to think about what I wanted my Flosstube to be kind of going forward, if I wanted to continue going forward, like whatever it was going to be. And so I kind of pondered upon it, and I decided to do a rebrand. That was not the intention when I did my pause. I intended to just pause to think about where I wanted to go forward. But then I thought, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and do a rebrand. And then my rebrand ultimately became Magical Anime Stitcher because I was thinking, what is it about me that is a character, personality trait of me? And what is it that I want to convey to potential viewers and stitchy friends that I may make along the ways? And one of the things that I really, looking back to when I started my Flosstube, which is I guess going on 4 years at this point, was I really was looking for people who stitched like me, who had similar interests in the types of things we stitch, maybe similar interests in things I watch and read and that type of thing, because I didn't see that many Flosstubers out there that had similar interests and ways of stitching. There was maybe like 2 that I was able to find, and they could be more out there. They were just hard to find. And so that's why I started it. And I felt like renaming this to Magical Anime Stitcher was more accurate to conveying what that was, so that way you know. My biggest fandom, if you can say that, I love a lot of different types of anime. I watch a lot of anime, but the thing, and even though this is not the first one I watched, the thing that probably defines my anime watching would have been Sailor Moon in the 90s, and continues to be so. And you know, and with Crystal being redone and everything, I was just like, I think this is where it fits because I watch a lot of anime. I'm a nerdy stitcher. I'm a sci-fi fantasy geek, and not the only thing. I also love history and that kind of stuff. But you know, just nerd all around. So I felt like this was more accurate. It was a more accurate naming, and technically the subgenre of the manga and the anime is magical girl. But I wasn't a big fan of the idea of the word girl, and so and I wasn't sure if you weren't a person who watched anime that you understood the reference, and so that's why instead of being Magical Girl Stitcher, I became Magical Anime Stitcher, and so hopefully it will bring in some not bring in, but hopefully it conveys a little bit more, and it separates a little bit more from me being the, you know, but not necessarily because it's always going to be me. But I hope you understand what I'm saying. So, um, so I'm really excited for this rebrand and kind of moving forward. It doesn't change anything. For those of you who've been with me, my stitching is not going to change. I'm still going to be doing cutesy, quirky stitching, some anime, some not. Whatever strikes my fancy is what I'm going to stitch. And, you know, I'm still the same person. Like none of that's changing. And so there's that. All right, so let's get going into today's video. So I'm filming this on January 1st, 2025. This is a wrap up of December, what I stitched in December. For everyone who watched my Flossaday, thank you for doing so. But I'm going to recap everything that I did in December. And I'm not going to go through everything I opened. If you're really interested in that, just go watch the Flossaday. There's a playlist, or go check out my Instagram where I have pictures of all the things that I opened. But I'm going to do a recap of that. But I actually didn't have that much, and I had multiple finishes in December that I thought I might do things a little bit differently, which is to actually do this as a finish parade of what I accomplished in 2024. I don't stitch on a lot of different projects, and so this is a wrap up of December, a wrap up of 2024 finishes. I will be doing a WIP parade in a different recording, in a different video. But so that's going to be this, and then to talk about 2025 plans beyond the rebrand. And so the order of today is going to kind of be the one WIP I have going into 2025 that I worked on in December, and then I'm going to do my finish parade, including all my finishes in December, And then I'm going to do the fully finished objects whenever those happen to be, including the one I did in December. And then I have a couple of FFOs from previous finishes from before 2024 that I'm going to show you. And then we'll talk plans at the end. So that's the agenda. Everything will, if you want to skip ahead to anything for any reason, timestamps below. I'm also not going to talk about floss and fabric count and things along that lines. All of that will be in the show notes below as well. So that's going to kind of be it for today. All right. So my camera is right in front of me, and I'm trying to be sure I'm going to look ahead, but my computer's a little offside to allow me to be able to see the screen as I'm showing pictures. So if I accidentally keep looking down, it's because that's where my camera is. So, all right. So let's first talk about December wrap up. For December, I worked on 5 projects. I stitched for 29 days, and I put in 8,890 stitches. In total, 5 projects, but really it's I'm counting things a little bit differently going forward in 2025, and I kind of basically started that in 24, but you'll see that when I get to it. So that was December. For my year end, it's actually pretty remarkable. I think I had a fantastic year end in 2024. I put in 80,393 stitches over 302 days. So, not so bad. I mean, but I'm kind of surprised at the 60 days that I did not stitch, but I guess that makes sense. I worked on a total of 23 projects. Within that, I have 4 start and finishes, which you'll see today. I had 6 starts that are going to carry over into 25. Those are going to be my whip parade when I showed that my whip parade. I had 6 that I had carried over and finished this year, which you will see in my and my finished parade today. And then I worked on 7 that were carried over from previous year whips into 24. I'm going to carry those over into 2025. And so that was 7 whips in that category. Again, you will see those in my whip parade in that video. But overall, I'm going to say it was a good year in 2024. So we'll see what 2025 brings. We'll talk about that in a second. All right, so my one whip that I had in December was the Texans Logo. This is officially licensed. It's Sporticulture is the brand. This is expensive, by the way, y'all, because of the licensing for the NFL logos. I am trying to rechart this. I've recharted this myself. Wanted to be able to put in the pattern keeper, but also, if you can see, I'm not a big fan of that star. I'm trying to make that star look a little bit cleaner, but I haven't gotten to there yet. I worked on this for 2 days. I only stitched on this on game day, and we had 2 games this month, and so I put in 210 stitches into that, and here it is. So obviously I got to the top of the ornament. Actually, there's one more row there, but we are finishing up the horn there. We'll start going down. I'll get to that star, and then we're going to see if we can fan angle this. So there we go. So that's my one whip for December of 2024. All right, so now we are going to go into the finish parade. We're going to go in the order that I finish. Again, I didn't have that much, 10 total, based on the way that I am counting everything. And it's, you know what? My projects, my whips, I can do whatever I want. But I think when you see it, it'll make sense to you as well, and why I've chosen to do that. All right, so my first finish of the year was the Lunar Princess by Sleeping Luna Designs. So obviously Sailor Moon theme, which makes sense. I am planning on working on a fully finish of this this month in January. So I have but we'll talk more about plans. So yeah, so there it is. This was one of my goals to finish earlier this year, and yeah, this was a lot of fun to stitch on. But yeah, so all right, so that's my first finish of 2024. And then I worked, if y'all been with me for a minute, one of my favorite designers are the pumpkins, the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. And so I did their 2024-25 sale for Castle Homecoming. And so this was my second finish of the year. I did do a color conversion, a skin and hair color conversion for the Knightess, the Knight, and the King and the Queen, to make them look like me, my husband, and my parents. The But there it is. This was so fun. I love working on Frosted Pumpkin. It's one of those things where you have to kind of be like careful about like, you gotta stitch everything, you know, because you only have so much time in the day. But look at that troll. Isn't that troll cool? The Nessie and the frog prints. So yeah. So that was my second finish of the year. I plan on framing that as a fully finish. My third finish of the year was Trick or Treat by Luminous Fiber Arts. And here it is. This was completely done in silk, and I love that she gives you that opportunity in her kits. So this was a Halloween box from 2023 that I finished. It's super cute. Don't know what my plans for this are. I'm thinking about doing this. Maybe it has a long pillow or something, but we'll think about that. It may just show up, just end up in my finish pile for whenever. All right. Then my next finish was Autumn Harvest Festival. This is by Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery as well. This is part of a seasonal series. I had already done winter, which was Winter Carriage Ride. And so I finished autumn in November. And then I ended up, I'm going to be working on spring and summer this year. So the plan is to finish those up before I fully finish these. These I'll probably fully finish as like little wall hangings, like flat folds or flat finishes. And to be able to hang them up somewhere. So this was lots of fun. All right. And so now we are going to get into the December finishes. And so let me get my notes back out for my December finishes. All right. So first up is, and this is where you're going to see that I am counting things a little differently going forward. This is because I was updating my Notion app, and I thought that it was kind of creating what I felt like were false things, right? Because I was counting parts as a single project because they were all in a single thing, and in reality that might not necessarily be the case. So I made a decision that if the item itself, if it's parts, but the parts themselves are individual and they can be finished individually or should be finished individually, I'm going to count them as their own separate project and count them as their own separate thing. And so that was kind of my plan going forward. It's not going to go perfectly for things that may be having backwards, but I decided to go ahead and just do that in December. And then you will see that is for Up on the Rooftop by Lindy Stitches. This is my first finish in December. I'm calling this Reindeer one. This is 943 stitches over 6 days. And so that is my first finish of December. Isn't that cute? These stitched up really, really quickly. Obviously, this was part of the Jingle Ball. Not obviously, if you weren't. This was part of the Jingle Ball. It was a class that I signed up for with Lindy Stitches on how to make little stockings. My plan was to take that class sometime in these next couple of days that I'm still off of work. I'll go back on Monday the 6th and see if I can get the fully finished done. So it's a little strange. Like for me, like I'm already done with like, it's January 1st. It's time to move on from the Christmas holidays. Basically, it's time to go back to Halloween. But I didn't finish this in time for the class. And so I wanted to work through the class with a finish. So that was my first finish of December. Then my next one, again, I'm going to consider this a finish, is I worked on Creepy Christmas Village. Now, I am now considering this finish. So going forward, I'm going to treat each individual ornament separately. But I had already finished the carolers. I finished the house earlier in the year of 2024. So this was technically a 2024 finish, but it's not going to be part of my count, because I don't want to change my Notion and I don't have the details to be able to get the full details. And then of course, what I finished in January is, the Christmas tree. And this one I worked on for 3 days and I put in 678 stitches in December. So this was my next finish. Can I say, first of all, let's admire these crows. Like when you look at that, right? It's that back stitching and the detail that creates in the flying crows. Very, very talented. Lola Crow Cross Stitch, by the way, is a designer if you weren't aware. So But yeah, so I'm going to be considering this a finish. And so going forward, I have 4 more ornaments, and there were 3 more in the actual salad that she gives a bonus. I'm going to count those as their own separate projects going forward because they will all be finished, fully finished individually. And so that is going to be kind of the plan for that in terms of count. And so Creepy Christmas Village won't be part of my WIP parade because I haven't started on ornament number 4 yet. But although I will be working on that. And then next up is a start and finish, which is Nordic Holiday by Modern Folk Embroidery. This was the countdown stitch along that is in collaboration with Evertote and Roxy Floss Co. Obviously a start and finish. I put in 5,465 stitches over 25 days to work on this. This is a beautiful piece. It's so vibrant. The colors are just so vibrant. Jacob did release this on his website, so you can go and purchase it. My JC is not centered. I thought I had centered it, but I didn't do my math quite right. So that's okay. That's just how it's going to go. But yeah, lovely. Absolutely lovely. All right. And then last but not least is my second Up on the Rooftop finish. And this is the one I have referred to as Santa. And I worked on this for 6 days. This is my last finish of the year. Finished this last night on New Year's Eve. I put in 1,594 stitches over 6 days. Super cute. And I wanted to have 2 so that way I can, one, practice making the stockings if I wanted to. And, but yeah. So those were my fully finishes. My finishes. And so now up are my 2 fully finishes for the year. So this is Evening Stroll by Autumn Lane Stitchery. This is a carryover from 2023 to 24. This is on perforated paper. So obviously fully finished. This was all provided by the kit by Autumn Lane Stitchery in their mystery Halloween box from 2023. So this is a lot of fun, easy to display. There's a little stand that they provided, so I can just stick that out pretty easily. And then last but not least is a start and finish, which is Bryson Bentley Badger by Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. This is also part of the Jingle Ball for a class to show how to do a standing flat finish. You know what I'm saying? This thing, the standing, the do. So there we go. So this is a start and finish. And then I was able to purchase the kit. And so this is the entirety of the finish. And so the fabric was by Frosted Pumpkin, although it is available on Spoonflower. The trim is by Lady Dot Creates. But there we go. That's, I took the class. I've talked about this when I showed the finish in a floss a days, but if you have an opportunity to take the pumpkin class, I really do recommend it. They take a lot of time and effort to be sure that the class is easy to follow and the instructions are clear and everything. But this was a lot of fun. I put some clamps on that now the chenille's a little bit pressed on those, but they'll fluff out eventually. All right, so that is my last start and finish, fully finished for 2024. I do have, and this is going to be funny, I do have a couple of fully finishes from projects that were finished in prior years. And my husband and I had done went to a fundraiser for a pet rescue. And so we bid on some framing and we won that framing. And so that we finally were able to meet with the person who did the framing and everything. And so I asked for a couple of things to be framed if it was within the gift certificate that we won. And so the first up one is I asked to get, this is my fully finished, sorry for the reflection. I don't know. I don't think there's a way for me to do this without like this. So this is my fully finished of Lindy Stitches, Emily's House. Everything is called for, by the way. So, but yeah. Oh my goodness. Let me turn off the light. Let me turn off the light. There we go. Still a reflection, but because of the glass. But I'm going back into the office beginning this year. We're going back in, and so I thought, well, probably time to decorate the office. And I figured this was something I could take to work. It says, speak for those who cannot speak for themselves, for the rights of all who are destitute. As y'all are aware or may not be aware, I am a legal aid attorney. And so I felt like this was something that would fit in well with my office decor. I love it. I love it. I think it's so beautiful. All right. Okay. So I don't even know how to show this to y'all. All right. So I did, but I gave them 2 pieces to frame. So Lindy Stitches came out great. I then also got Trick or Treater frame. This is by Mary Englebright. Beautiful, right? It's a beautiful frame. I asked for the trim to be, actually, what I asked for was whether or not she had a red frame, because I wanted a red frame, but no, I guess not. This was a very interesting experience. I'm going to say, I talked to her on the phone, and then after that it was texting, and then I never really got any feedback from her after the pieces were hand off and things along that lines. And so I sent a picture of how I wanted Trick or Treater to be framed. This is not the picture that I sent. Beautifully framed. Beautifully framed. But if you are a person who is aware of Mary Englebright's Trick or Treater piece, you are aware that she provides a stitch frame for it. And I introduce to you the stitch frame. I don't even know what to do. I don't even know what to do with this. When I sent her a picture of this has the frame around the Trick or Treater. Right? This is going to be hard to do. Right. It's supposed to be a frame around that, right? I sent her the picture. And I said, if you can't do it, no worries. Just let me know, right? Then I'll take it to a different framer that can do it, because I think this is a part-time thing. I don't think they do this as a full-time thing. And she said, sure, no problem. And then that's what got delivered. It was delivered to my in-laws, so I didn't get to talk to her to kind of figure out what happened. So I don't know what to do. And by the way, even the hanging is not right. It's not right. So yeah, she didn't charge me extra for this. My gift certificate was for $200. So I did not expect to get everything framed. In fact, I told her I was giving her 2 pieces, but that if the gift certificate didn't cover both pieces, to just charge me, and I would pay the difference of whatever it was going to be. So, but then she didn't charge me anything extra. And so I feel bad, being it's not how I wanted it done. So, anyways, my thought is that I have frames. I have a frame now. I'm going to undo this one. I'm going to undo it, and I'm going to try to do this myself, because now I have everything. And I don't necessarily want to. So I don't know. I think I'm going to just try to frame this myself and see if I can get this to work right. And then if not, I can just have the Trick or Treater framed. So, I feel like this is a thing that only happens to me. But, yeah. There we go. So those are my fully finishes for the year 2024. Overall, I feel like sometimes there's a part of me that's just I really didn't work on that much. Y'all, when I do my whip parade, there were something like seven whips I didn't even touch in 2024, which really bothered me. And in fact, when I do my Notion tour, you're going to see that I did some changes to it, so that way I can keep up on the idea that there were projects I hadn't touched in the entire year, and wanting to be sure that I do some efforts into that. So with that, this leads me into my 2025 goals and plans for the year. Um, Not honestly, it's pretty straightforward. I am a stitch what I want when I want it, and because it's my hobby, trying to make it stressful or anything like that just seems silly. Like so, as of right now, I thought about like, are there challenge groups I want to join or anything like that line? And at this point in time, no, I'm not going to join any challenge groups this year at all. And I have a WIPCO board, but I haven't set it up, right? So like my idea is that I just want to do some monogamous stitching, see where I get, see how far I get, do what I want to do, and then just go forward from there. And that's just kind of the plan. But that being said though, um I want to finish things. And so I've seen some hashtags in the Instagrams that for people who are working on finishes, and that's kind of their goal for 2025. And so I think that that's kind of be my goal. It's like to kind of work on trying to get some finishes done. Cinderella, Wishes Upon a Dream, has a finish, has been a goal for a long time. Every year I want to finish it. That's going to be a goal for 2025, continuing on. I think I can do it this year if I could just get some focus stitching on it. I want to finish things that were carried over from that I started before 2023. That's typically what I like to do. Anything started at least 2 years beforehand to get done in the current year. And so it would be things that I started in 2023 or earlier becomes the goal for 2025, with the exception of my BAPs. And so that will be the goal. I have to look a little bit closer into that, but that's going to kind of be a focus. And the other thing is to kind of finish the things that are in progress, in the sense that like, you know, it finishing up a series. So again, we saw I had the Autumn Harvest Festival, doing the summer and winter, the spring and summer one. Even though those will be new starts, it's part of the series. So trying to work on finishing the series. Same thing with like Creepy Christmas Village. I have 3 done, trying to finish that. Stitch for Pride, I have most of that done. So that's kind of going to be my goal. So my goal is to get my WIP count down, which when you see my WIP parade is currently at 25, is to get my WIP count down back to where I find to be the sweet spot for me, where I feel like I'm able to work on everything as often as I want and without getting bored, which just tends to be around 12 to 15 WIPs. Tends to be what I feel is a little bit more of that kind of comfort. But in order to do that, I got to do a little bit of focus monogamous stitching in the meantime. And so that's going to kind of be the plans for 2025. And, and that's it. That's going to be it. And we'll see how it goes. And I'm looking forward to it. And I don't think I have anything else to talk about. I have a new planner that I'm ready to start. Like, I finished up this is my 2024 planner. I'm going to have my 2025 planner starting today. And so yeah, things that we're watching. We started watching the Apothecary Diaries on Crunchyroll. Super fun. If you are an anime fan, we recommend that one. It's low risk, not very serious, at least not yet. And we think it might be starting to get a little serious in terms of the storyline. But she's hilarious. This is a young lady who is obviously an apothecary who has a fascination with poison, and it's cute. It's very sweet. So we've been watching that, and we're looking forward to that going forward on that. But yeah, that's it. Oh, what a short video. Only 30 minutes for a finished parade and December updates in 2024 wrap up. So yeah, okay, there you go. So with that, my joke for today is, where did medieval people go to celebrate New Year's Eve? Well, a Knights Club, of course. Wherever you are, I hope you are having a stitchy good time. 2025 is going to be a great year for all of our stitchy needs and stitchy goals. And I look forward to seeing you in my next video, which will be the VIP Parade, which will probably not get recorded for a couple of days. But I hope that you are doing well, and I'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.